18 February 2021, ladies and gentlemen, this is the evening edition of the English newscast. The headlines. Christians all over the world yesterday celebrated Ash Wednesday, a significant day that portrays a solemn reminder of human mortality and the need for reconciliation with God. The 2021 session of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope has been scheduled for February 26 and 27. Contrary to previous editions, this year's race will be taking place under strict measures instituted by the International Athletics Federation to limit the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. After Egypt, Seychelles, Guinea, South Africa and Zimbabwe, Senegal is the next African country to go in for the option of the mass vaccination campaign. With the continent experiencing a second wave of the COVID-19 vaccine, most governments are already diving into the vaccination option, with rich countries having at the expense of poorer countries. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all for the headlines. Stay tuned for the development of these stories and more. Good evening and welcome back. Christians all over the world yesterday celebrated Ash Wednesday, a significant day that portrays a solemn reminder of human mortality and the need for reconciliation with God. The day marks the beginning of the penitential Lenten season and is commonly observed with the celebration of a mass, ashes and fasting. The ashes placed on the forehead signifies to repent and believe in the gospel, or remember that you are dust and unto dust you shall return. It is preceded by Shrove Tuesday and falls on the first day of Lent and the 6 weeks of the penitence before Easter. Ash Wednesday is observed by Catholics in the Roman Rite, Anglicans, Lutherans, Methodists, Moravians, Nazarenes and Independent Catholics, as well as by many from the Reformed faith like Presbyterians. On Monday, February 17 of 2021, ex-combatant fighters of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center of Bamenda, Northwest region of Cameroon, took to the streets demanding better living conditions and also the promise made by the government. Marching through the streets to the governor's office, Abdov Lele Lafrique, they were received by the governor and the city mayor and urged to state their grievances in writing. Have their worries been listened to? Report. A delegation from the Prime Minister's office in Yaoundé on Wednesday, February 17, 2021, visited the regional center of the Disarmament, Demobilization and Reintegration Center in Bamenda and handed a sum of 1 million francs CFA to ex-fighters to quench the grievances that led them to strike on Monday, 15th of February 2021, against fake and unfeeling promises early made to them by the government. According to information, the interministerial delegation led by Gillette Nkwengam had a brief meeting with the governor of the Northwest region, Adolphe Lele Lafrique, before proceeded to the DDR center where actions to commence the reintegration process of some ex-fighters was disclosed. The Nkwain-headed delegation that met with the ex-fighters of the DDR center in Bamenda on instructions of the Prime Minister, Head of Government Chief Dr. Joseph Diangute, was composed of representatives from 4 other ministries: livestock, fishery and animal industry, agriculture and rural development, youth affairs and civic education, and the Ministry of Territorial Administration. Speaking to the now calm ex-combatants, the head of mission told them that they have come in a delegation to reassure them of the commitment of the Prime Minister, Head of Government, in their welfare. The Prime Minister has said he is committed and likes to ensure you are happy now and tomorrow. The intention is not only to make sure you are recruited when you leave this place, but also to ensure that you can recruit some people. It should be noted that the meeting of the Yaoundé delegation with the ex-combatants at the Bamenda DDR Center came the same day when the governor of the Northwest region was to meet with the striking former fighters to receive their documented worries and grievances. Though marveled at the gesture of the government to fasten their reintegration, the now appeased striking ex-combatants do not fail to hand a document containing their request to the governor, who then transferred it to the head of mission from Yaoundé to be forwarded to hierarchy. According to the delegation, the Prime Minister said he knows graduation for some of these fighters is being scheduled to leave the center and go out and start life anew, not forgetting the need of basic identification documents. The Prime Minister gave a sum of 1 million francs CFA to assist in the production of your identity card, the ex-fighters were told by the head of mission. The 2021 session of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope has been scheduled for the February 26 and 27 of 2021. Contrary to previous edition, this year's race will be taking place under strict measures instituted by the International Athletic Federation to limit the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. In preparation for the event, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education, that's Joseph Yerima, and other organizers are putting in mechanisms as indicated by the Secretary General, that's the SG of the Cameroon Athletics Federation, that's in the person of Charles Kouakote, in the commencing of the games. Departures for the different categories will be separate in order to respect the social distancing barrier measure. The Secretary General further indicated there will be strict respect of other health protocols prescribed by the International Athletics Federation. Some of them include a COVID-19 test for all athletes, wearing of face masks for the participants, personalization and sterilization of materials, amongst others. After Egypt, Seychelles, Guinea, South Africa and Zimbabwe, Senegal is of course the next country to go in for a mass vaccination campaign. That's for the option. With the continent experiencing a second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, most governments are already diving to the vaccination option, with rich countries hubbing at the expense of poorer countries. This report tells us about the COVID-19 situation in Senegal. Senegal received 200,000 doses of China's COVID-19 vaccine Sinopharm on Wednesday, purchased at around $3.8 million according to the country's finance ministry. Nearly 1.3 million more vaccine doses are also expected to arrive via the World Health Organization COVAX initiative. In a televised ceremony to mark the occasion, President Macky Sall addressed the nation. The urgency today is to protect our health workers on the front line against the pandemic. It is also to protect people over 60 years old and those living with comorbidity. We will begin vaccinating people in these three categories as they are the priority. For vaccine storage, cold rooms have been installed and the country has received 1,117 World Health Organization approved freezers. President Sall continued, "We have already started the process of acquiring other batches of the vaccine in the next few weeks for a total of 6,790,000 doses that will allow us to begin the mass vaccination phase." The president called on the health minister to undertake all the necessary logistical, financial and social mobilization arrangements for the vaccination campaign launch. The Senegalese head of state also called on the Institut Pasteur in Dakar, which produces a vaccine against yellow fever, to examine the possibility of locally producing coronavirus vaccines. Since the onset of the pandemic, Senegal has recorded almost 32,000 cases, including 760 deaths, and infections have increased in the past few months. True that Africa initially was against massive vaccination to combat the spread of the coronavirus pandemic, but most governments have already opted for a massive vaccination campaign. The reported death rate per capita on the continent used to be low compared with other parts of the world, however, despite the weak health infrastructures in many African countries. The World Trade Organization has appointed Nigeria's former Finance Minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the new Director General. Ngozi now becomes the first woman and also the first African to lead the Switzerland-based institution. Her appointment came after the World Trade Organization had a special General Council meeting on Monday as U.S. President Joe Biden strongly swung behind her candidacy shortly after the only other remaining contender, that's South Korean Trade Minister Yoon Myung-hee, pulled out. 66-year-old Okonjo-Iweala serves as her country's first female finance and foreign minister and has a 25-year career behind her as a development economist at the World Bank. Okonjo-Iweala, who also served on Twitter's board of directors as chair of the Gavi Vaccine Alliance and as a special envoy for the World Health Organization COVID-19 fight, saw her candidacy get a boost when the European Union threw its weight behind her. Ladies and gentlemen, it is on that note that we end this edition of the evening newscast. Stay tuned for the upcoming editions of the newscast, and until tomorrow, have a blessed evening and be safe.